Students, so in our last lecture of the day, we're going to talk about making good and effective thesis statements. So your thesis statement is the most important sentence in your essay. It helps you move from your research question to answering that research question, and this is your answer to it, which will be explained with your reasons, which will be supported by evidence. And in this case, for your paper and every other term paper in your course, you're going to be using academic sources, which would involve usually journal articles. So your thesis statement is like the topic sentence of your entire essay. Remember, for topic sentences, you're going to have to talk about the topic plus your controlling idea. And we'll review these concepts in this lecture as well. And if you've forgotten about this, you can go back to week 2, where we talk about the paragraph structure. Okay, so let's move on and talk about how to write an effective thesis statement. So for review, here is a definition of the thesis statement, in case you forgot. It helps you narrow the topic, so this is your research topic, which you have chosen and shown me in your week 3 discussion, and I have given you some questions to help you narrow it down to a single idea, so which is a research question that you would answer plus your answer. In this answer, your thesis statement, you would name the topic, you assert your opinion about the topic, and this is your controlling idea. And it also points readers to the purpose of your reading. So that's the why you wrote this essay. And usually it's because, well, the topic is important to you. And more than that, the topic is important to the readers, and you want to tell them something important. Again, you would talk about the topic which you have chosen. You would have given an informed opinion about the topic, a good controlling idea, which points to why you wrote it in the first place, because, well, it's important. Another reason why you write thesis statements and what a thesis statement has is the reasons. So this preview, other courses would call your thesis statement a roadmap, and you'll see this term later on in this lecture. It's a roadmap to the reasons that support your argument, which means your body paragraphs. It gives the reader signals or hints about what to expect. Okay, so a thesis statement narrows down the topic. It names the topic, asserts your opinion and conveys your purpose. And it also previews or shows the reader your reasons that support your essay. So that's the arrangement, and that's part of your essay outline. So your thesis statement actually does quite a lot of things. So it's very important to write a good thesis statement. So translation, the better your thesis statement is, the better your essay is going to be. The better you develop your thesis statement, chances are your essay is going to also to be developed. And a good thesis always needs good general and specific knowledge in your research. So let's look at some examples of thesis statements. Here we have two, 1 and 2. We have two different topics here. So these are examples of thesis statements. Okay. The first topic, it's about the policy of universal accessibility to Canadian universities and colleges. So, translation, everyone should, or whether everyone should, or anyone that is Canadian, I guess, be able to enter universities and colleges. Well, you can talk about the topic, but if you only talk about the topic, you're going to need your opinion, what you think about it. About this. So remember, just like your topic sentence, you need the topic plus the controlling idea. And in the lecture, in week 2, we talked about the topic as what you are talking about. And your controlling idea is what you think about that topic. Let's write it here. Okay, so in the thesis statement, it's going to give an answer. So maybe the question would be, should everyone be able to enter? So if this was a question about this topic, the answer would be, well, if Canada wants to be competitive, wants to be good as an industrialized country and have good economy, then Canada should, I'll just read it first, post-secondary education. So there's my topic right there, universal accessibility to Canadian universities and colleges. Must be accessible. So the controlling idea is basically yes to this question right here. To any student who qualifies academically. We're going to talk about how to make your answer a specific answer. So instead of saying everybody should be able to get it, like this, should say students who qualify. And qualify in what way? With their school marks, their test scores, academically. Okay, so the controlling idea here is your answer. Yes. Yes, Canada should allow students who are eligible, who qualify to register for university and probably get in. So again, your thesis statement always talks about the topic and the controlling idea. Plus, you can see that this answer points to the idea that we want what's best for Canada. The purpose maybe is to help Canada's economy. Somebody cares about Canada and wrote this, something like that. So let's try the second topic. The second topic here, we have a shorter topic, preventing youth crime. So there are youth who commit crimes. We're talking about Canada here, I guess. And the topic is about having less crime. So some questions could be, well, how? How do we prevent youth crime? You could ask why, but you're going to see in the thesis statement that it's more a how question, and this still works. How and why questions are okay. So here, youth can be diverted from crime. So there's the topic. You can see that. So getting youth to not commit crime. Then here's the by. So when you see by, that's the answer to a how question. By three things. 1, active learning programs. 2, full-time sports. And 3, intervention by mentors and role models. Now here you have your ways to how to do something, and these are also your supporting points. In this case, your body paragraphs as well. And these 1, 2, and 3 ways are going to be talked about in the essay, in the body of your essay. So this is where you get a roadmap structure for your thesis statement. So here we see 2 types of thesis statement. One is a simple answer. And here, in the second thesis statement, you see the answer. Yes, youth can be diverted from crime. Yes, you can prevent youth crime. But you add the reasons or ways, which gives a roadmap structure, a more complex thesis statement. And we're going to talk more about that. So before we compare the different kinds of thesis statements, let's call them simple, was just answer, and then a more complex one, which is answer plus, we'll call them reasons for now, reasons or ways, depending on which question you answer. Reasons for why, ways for how. We have some specific steps or elements to make every kind of good thesis statement. So yes, 1, you must include the topic. Narrow the topic down. It's a narrowed down or specific topic. For example, instead of saying just youth crime, you have preventing youth crime. So just youth crime by itself would be more broad, but if you include preventing youth crime, that is more specific. You can think about ways to make this even more specific too. Maybe with different age groups, specifically, let's say between 16 to 18. That's one way to make your topic more specific. But again, the more specific or narrow down your topic is, the more specific your thesis statement will be. But first, remember, include the topic. Second, include what you want to argue about. And this is your controlling idea. Okay, so what you think. As a tip, you will not be quoting anything in your thesis statement. No quotes. It's not a quote, and no paraphrasing. So no citations whatsoever in your thesis statement. It is your idea. This is the only sentence that you will never ever cite in your entire essay, because it's your answer. Just remember that. Number 3, you can include specific modifiers to limit your argument. So this is like narrowing down your topic, but here you narrow down your thesis statement. The example from the first sentence, you have students, but not just every student. You have specifically students who are academically qualified. So this is a limited group here, in this case of students, and this is again more specific. You should probably get the theme by now. You really want to be specific in your papers and research. So again, try to be as detailed as you can. If you can talk about specific groups, do that. It is less vague than all students, unless you're actually trying to talk about all students. But that's rare. Here, the next one, we include an outline of the reasons. So this one, you can see in sentence 2. So again, this is kind of your roadmap. I'll put those in quotes, like a preview or a signal, something like that. Again, these are reasons or ways of your opinion. And you'll see these supporting ideas again in the body paragraphs. So these are the 4 steps, okay? That has 4 elements. First one, it needs to have the topic. Second, you need to have the controlling idea. Then you can have specific modifiers in your controlling idea to talk about specific people or groups of things. And you can also add your reasons or ways to make your thesis statement a complex thesis statement. So your simple thesis statement can have steps 1, 2, and maybe even 3. But your complex one is going to have all 4 of these elements pretty much for sure. Okay, let's go to the next one. So we've seen 2 pretty good thesis statements. And now, as you're starting, you might not get those thesis statements the first time. And here are some thesis statements that people, and when I first started, make. So these are sort of, we call them mistakes, or you might learn this word, learning opportunities, or let's say room for improvement. Basically, what these are going to show you is that yes, we can make bad thesis statements, but we can improve on them, we can revise on them, which is what we're talking about, a working thesis. So it's not your final thesis, it's not final. You're going to find more sources, you're going to develop your research. Into a thesis for your paper. And here are some ways to do that. You want to make weak thesis statements into strong thesis statements. with the 4 elements again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can go back to the last slide to see what those elements are. Okay, let's check the first one. Here are 3 examples. Here we have people should not go on fad diets. Now, sometimes a short thesis statement can indicate that it's weak, but if you look at sentence 2, it's pretty long, but it's also weak for other reasons. But the first one, it's weak. Well, maybe there's not enough information. The controlling idea is not there. Well, we got fad diets. That's the topic. And then the controlling idea is to say, okay, well, people should not go on fad diets. Well, you may wonder, why? So one of the ways to make your thesis statement stronger is to add the reasons. So your fix here for this one, if your thesis statement is short and you know what your reasons are, add them. Add the reasons. Well, and you can change your controlling idea a little bit to be more specific as you think about the reasons. Okay, so how are fad diets dangerous? Well, one, they deprive the body of essential nutrients. So you're not getting enough food. You're not getting enough vitamins or minerals for the body to grow and heal itself and so on. Or 2, fad diets are dangerous when people rely too much on potentially harmful foods. So maybe these are things like, like an all-carb diet perhaps, or a no-carb diet. So maybe all rice and all potatoes, or no rice and no potatoes, or just all meat, or maybe use different products. So here you see there are reasons or ways that's being added to fix this. And people should not go on fad diets because, well, they're dangerous. So that's actually a reason too. So always include the reason if you can. Reasons and ways. Let's look at the second one. Seatbelts can save lives, but now car makers are installing airbags. Well, this one has 2 possible topics. 1, seatbelts. That could be a topic, so we call this topic 1. Another area topic could be airbags. So, well, what are we talking about? There's no controlling idea. These statements are more taken as fact. Well, we have seatbelts in pretty much every car in developed countries because they already tested this. And airbags, a similar idea. They do save lives. So they both have just factual statements. And that's not what we look for in thesis statements. Are not thesis statements. Not thesis statements. Because thesis statements are going to be supported by facts. So, here's a fix to this. So make sentence a claim. So this means take a side or argue about something. And when I say something, of course, I mean something that you know what you're talking about. So an informed opinion. So I should say something good. So you're not going to argue about anything, but you're going to argue about something that you know based on general knowledge and specific knowledge in your research. So here's a good one. So far in just the first example, well, yeah, we can read articles about seatbelt saving lives. That's common fact now, at least in Canada. And yeah, we know car makers are installing airbags. Almost every car has airbags now. So maybe you have to think about this a bit more. Maybe you have to take a side, which means you have to think about the topic critically. Make connections. Look for themes. Ask questions. And then maybe you can argue about something. And here is what the writer decided to argue about. Well, they thought they made the connection. Okay, well, yeah, seatbelts and airbags happen at the same time in cars. You have both of these. Well, what if seatbelts are enough? Maybe you don't need airbags. Well, here's the claim. You may not agree with this. You can probably think of some reasons, like a seatbelt may not save you from a T-bone where a car crashes at you from the side, or, straight ahead. But anyway, here's the claim. And the person would have to defend this, and you can disagree with this. If drivers use seatbelts more often, then car makers might not need to install airbags. So here we have a very clear claim which the writer can argue about, and you as the reader can agree or disagree with this. And that's something very important for a thesis statement. It has to be a sentence that you can agree or disagree based on evidence. Okay, so if you find yourself making factual statements in your thesis statement, you need to make the sentence a claim by taking a side, which means, think about the issue critically, make connections about the things that you know about the facts, look for common themes, compare. Maybe you would compare the benefits of seatbelts versus airbags, how many lives they save. Maybe you ask questions. Maybe which one saved more lives? Well, maybe you find out that seatbelts save more lives for various reasons, and you go, oh, well, this writer thought maybe, oh, seatbelts save more lives. Well, that means if people wear seatbelts more often, well, they don't need airbags then. Maybe. Again, this is a statement that you can agree or disagree with, but at least the writer can argue about this. All right, and the third example, I'm going to give it to you for practice. Here, it's a very short sentence statement. Gun control is essential. Well, how would you fix that? I'll give you a clue. This sentence, is it a fact or claim? If you see it as a fact, how would you make a claim out of it? Or if you see this statement as a claim, well, let's say sentence is for Canada. Oh, you may think of United States, where there's a lot more shootings. You choose one country. And if you think of this sentence as a claim, what might be the reasons for that? Remember, this type of answer requires reasons. Why is it essential? See if you can fix that sentence. So I'll give you two ways that maybe you can develop this and fix it after the next part.